So I thought that I was doing the sensible thing with my investing. Some index funds, a bit of diversification, a couple of individual stocks on the side, but the more that I've looked into my actual portfolio, the more I'm starting to think that I might not be as diversified as I first thought I was. And so in this video, I want to walk through my actual portfolio, the real numbers in there, and try and figure out whether I've either accidentally doubled up on some companies or whether this is absolutely fine, because honestly, I'm not 100% sure. So let's just lay it out to have a look then. This is my current portfolio as it stands right now. I have around £8,200 in a FTSE All-World index fund. I've got around £6,400 in the S&P 500, around £1,890 in Rolls-Royce, £1,600 in Google, £400 in Legal & General, and £385 in Procter & Gamble. So overall, the majority of it is in index funds, which in theory should mean that I'm nicely diversified, or so I thought. And that's kind of been the goal from the outset of this portfolio. I've been trying to move towards having at least 90% of my funds in index funds, working towards that over time, of course, and just have a small portion in individual stocks to manage that risk. But when I started digging into what I actually own, it's raised a bit of a question in my mind. Do the holdings that I have mean I'm actually diversified, or have I just bought the same things twice? And this is, I think, where it gets interesting, because on the surface, this looks diversified, or it does to me. So a global index, a US index, some UK stocks, some individual companies, it feels sensible. However, when you scratch beneath the surface and break it down, both the FTSE All-World and obviously the S&P 500 are heavily weighted towards US companies, and not just US companies, the same US companies. So companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they're already a massive part of both funds. And that just means that when I buy FTSE All-World and S&P 500, I'm not really diversifying, I'm actually increasing my exposure to the same underlying companies. Let's use Alphabet, so Google as an example then. I've got around £1,600 directly in Google stock. But Google is also a top holding in the S&P 500, and Google actually represents between 6 and 7% of that index fund. It's also a top holding in the FTSE All-World at around 3 to 4% of the index fund. So I indirectly own a lot more Google than I probably realised. It's the same story with Procter & Gamble. So I've bought it individually as part of what I'm calling and trialling as a dividend experiment, which I'm a few months into and I'll report back on soon, but it's already there inside my S&P 500 at 0.5 to 0.7% and inside the FTSE All-World at, again, a similar amount of level of percentage. So I'm just layering exposure to that company on top of exposure, and this is where I start to question things a bit. In my head, as a beginner investor, I'm thinking I've got a mix of funds and stocks, and therefore I'm diversified, but in reality, as I'm finding, I might just be concentrating more heavily into the same companies. And none of this is financial advice, I'm just documenting what I've been doing through my investments on this channel. And let's take it one step further then. So let's actually work out how much Google stock I own. So not just the £1,600 that I can see in the individual holding, but the hidden exposure as well inside my index funds. So here's how it breaks down. So I have £6,400 in the S&P 500 and £8,200 in the FTSE All-World. Now, as said, Google makes up roughly between 6 and 7% of the S&P 500 and between 3 and 4% of the FTSE All-World. So if you do the maths on that, and I did have to use a calculator to do this, from the S&P 500 on its own, so £6,400, 6.5% of that is around £415. So that means that within the S&P 500, £415 of my holding is Google. And it's a similar story from my holding in the FTSE All-World. So I have £8,200 in the FTSE All-World, 3.5% of that is around £285 of just Google stock in my index funds. So adding those together, just in my index funds, I'm owning £700 worth of Google. So then adding on top of that, my direct holding of the individual stock, £1,600, means I've actually got £2,300 of Google stock. And this is the bit that made me stop and think a little bit, hence making this video, because in my head I thought, right, I've got £1,600 of Google, but in reality, as I found out, it's much closer to £2,300. And that might be something that is absolutely completely fine, but it's not something that I consciously decided. It's something I've kind of drifted into, and as I've gone on the last few months, I'm actually trying to increase my holdings in the index funds and just hadn't accounted for the fact that I might need to do that more than I'd initially planned to take into account things like this. Because in the example of Google, now if Google does really well, great. But if it doesn't, I'm more exposed to it than I probably would like to be, and crucially, definitely more than I realised. Now, whether it's a problem is something that I'm not completely sure about, because on the one hand, you could argue that it's not a bad thing at all. Google's and some other companies I hold as well, so Rolls-Royce, etc., are some of the biggest, most profitable companies in the world, and index funds naturally overweight them because they perform well or have performed well. So by doubling up in my exposure to these companies, I'm basically saying, yep, I'm happy to have more of the winners or more of those that are successful. That might work out well, but on the flip side, that's not really diversification anymore. That's concentration on fewer individual stocks. And I think that's a subtle difference that I just hadn't really thought about in too much detail before. The other thing that I've been thinking about is, why do I actually own both? Because the FTSE All-World already includes the US. In fact, it's something like 60% made up of US stocks. So by adding the S&P 500 on top, I'm basically saying I want even more US exposure than the global market already gives me. Now, in some cases that might be intentional, but in my case, it's just something I've drifted into without really thinking about it properly. I think in my head, I was trying to do something like this. So the core portfolio is global index, so it's in theory safe and diversified, and then tilt slightly towards the US with the S&P 500, and then have a few individual stocks on top of that, which to me sounds reasonable. But when you look beneath the surface of what these indexes actually hold, it becomes more like heavy US exposure, heavy exposure to the same large companies, plus like individual bets on top of that. And suddenly when I'm looking at all this, it's not feeling as balanced as it first felt initially. So right now, I'm just at the point where I'm questioning it. I'm not panicking, I'm not rushing to change anything, I'm just trying to properly think about it, and I've got some opinions in my head. My first thought is, shall I simplify and just go with the FTSE All-World for my index funds, or do I keep both and just accept that I'm intentionally overweighted towards the US market? Or I could also just continue what I'm doing and just be a bit more aware of the overlap and act accordingly if I think things are going one way or another. That's my least favorite, my opinions. I'm trying to do as least thinking as possible with this whole investing thing. So I haven't decided at all yet. Short term, I'm just going to continue adding new money to my portfolio to the FTSE All-World Index. How long that strategy continues on for, I'm not sure exactly. I'd set myself the target of getting to 90% index funds in my portfolio before I look to add any other individual stocks. But as ever, I'm learning as I go, changing things as I see fit, and I'm just taking you along for the ride. I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from this is that diversification isn't just how many different things you own, it's about what you actually own underneath those things. Because you can have multiple funds, multiple stocks, but still be heavily concentrated in the same places. And I think that's something that's really easy to miss. I certainly have for just over a year. And the same can be said for property. So I have a residential property and a buy-to-let property, and therefore I'm really exposed to the property market. I might think I'm diversified because, well, I live in one house and I rent the other one out, but actually both of my bets are on the property market. And this is kind of why I'm documenting this whole picture of my financial life, because from the outside it might look like, yeah, that's a sensible portfolio, well done, but when you actually dig into it, there's lots of little decisions and little assumptions baked into it. Some of them intentional, some of them not intentional, and in my case, hardly any of them intentional. And I think this is just part of the process, figuring out what you're actually doing, not just what you think you're doing, because as I'm finding, those things are often different. And just quickly, because I have had a couple of questions about it, so I use the platform Trading 212, that's where I manage my stocks and shares ISA. It's the only platform I've ever used, so I can't hand on heart say it's the best, but I can say I've used it since I started my investing journey. I've had no problems with it. It's easy to read, easy to use, even I figured it out. Now, I'm not sponsored by Trading 212, so they're not paying me to say this, but if you are looking to invest or open an ISA, I have a referral link in the description down below, which if you use it to open a Trading 212 account, we basically both get a free fractional share, which is part of a share worth between £10 and £100 with no strings attached. I'm not telling you what to buy, neither are they. It supports the channel when people do things like that, and I'm actually documenting what that means for a creator on this channel in videos that I do monthly anyway. So if you use it, you're supporting me to firstly meet my investing goals and yours, and secondly be able to create content on this channel. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So am I diversified? Well, I think that the honest answer is kind of, but maybe not in the way that I first thought. And this is very much something that I'm just going to keep working through over the next few months as I keep investing, as I keep learning, as I keep reading and digesting information. Obviously, I will update you on this channel as I go through, especially if I make any changes or change my direction for any reason. That's really what this channel is and why I think I'm different to some other channels. I'm not trying to be different to be better. I'm trying to be different because this is where I'm at, and that's all I can do, show you where I'm at. I'm not going to be sharing the perfect strategies of a well-rounded portfolio that's optimized for the best return. I'm doing the best I can with the knowledge I've got, just documenting my own real decisions with my own real money and figuring it out in time, in the hope that maybe it might inspire some people out there to go on their own investing journey. I only started at the beginning of 2025. So if that interests you, if you're interested in following the journey, please do hit that subscribe button down below. I'd be very grateful. I'll see you in the next one.